Hello, everybody. Welcome back for another video. Hope you're all doing well and that you're all having an absolutely fantastic day. And without any further ado, let's jump right into it. I guess this constitutes whale news. I'm not exactly sure. Quite popular. Interesting to also see that this was popular, because a lot of times we get, and I, say good news in this manner, and no one seems to care. However, maybe because he was a former gigantic figurehead within the space that a lot more people are taking notice. Block, the payments firm led by Jack Dorsey, has announced that they are going to be buying more Bitcoin, but they're going to be doing so by dollar cost averaging. Per a 2nd of May shareholder letter, I personally, this is a personal feeling, I think a lot of people in the crypto space like the idea of DCA, dollar cost averaging, and that's why I think this actually became popular news. It sounds weird. It may even sound like a joke, but as long as I've been in this space, people love the idea, and it's basically buying crypto in different intervals. So if maybe you buy the 1st or 2nd of every single month, or the 15th of every month, or weekly, depending on how your budget is. But I've noticed that it's like some weird phenomenon that people really love dollar cost averaging. So upon hearing, and even what they're doing isn't really dollar cost averaging, it's more of a when we have the money, we're going to do it kind of thing. It's not anyway. So, right. Starting in April, the company has been allocating 10% of their monthly gross profit from Bitcoin related products to purchasing additional Bitcoin. The strategy is set to continue throughout the remainder of 2024. Jack Dorsey, for those of you who missed it, didn't know it, is one of the largest Bitcoin bulls on the planet. Dare I say, quite intense. He left his company, Twitter, to basically focus full time on Bitcoin. He wants to make Bitcoin mining equipment. He wants to work on the Lightning Network. There's I forgot all the things. He's been in the news so many times over the years. He wants to do a lot with it. So upon hearing that a Bitcoin maximalist was buying Bitcoin, everyone was like, oh, snaps, I cannot believe it. It says dollar cost averaging is an investment strategy that involves investing a fixed dollar amount into a particular asset at regular intervals, but this isn't a fixed dollar anyway, irrespective of the asset's price at the time. The method is commonly used to mitigate the effects of price volatility. The move by Block follows the increased acceptance of Bitcoin, yada, 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 so and so and so, and Jack Dorsey said something as well. So, very popular news. As we have heard before, I think Block has several thousand Bitcoin, and now they're going to try and get more. Jack Dorsey, of course, famous for his I buy Bitcoin every single day method. About 3 years ago, maybe even 4. He mentioned that he buys Bitcoin across multiple apps and across multiple websites every single day, and he maxes out the amount of Bitcoin that he can buy. So I think it's safe to say he has more than one entire Bitcoin at this point. Yeah, very popular. Whoa, what was that? Very popular news all over the place. Congratulations to them. I'm not exactly sure what I'm supposed to say. Here's the actual thing right here that was given out to the shareholders, and the word Bitcoin is littered completely throughout the entire thing. It is also 39 pages long, and I will not be scrolling for that long. But yeah, cool. This is very, very similar to whatchamajaggers, to the thing from Tether. Tether announced before that they are allocating 15% of their profits into directly into Bitcoin as well. So I think at this point Tether might actually own far more Bitcoin than Block does. I think, doesn't Tether have like 44,000 Bitcoin or something like that? It's some like egregiously high number. But this is basically kind of the same thing. A lot of other companies are doing it and have been doing it for a while. But because this is now Jack Dorsey and Block, of course, it becomes more popular. So, coolio. That's the Jack Dorsey's Block is going to be buying more Bitcoin on regular intervals. And we will at some point in the future also be hearing about the exact amount of Bitcoin that they're going to be purchasing. And hopefully that factors into people's minds, because way too many times we keep getting, like great cryptocurrency news and no one seems to care. Or when we do get information that these companies are buying an egregious amount of Bitcoin, everyone just kind of yawns. That's a Jack Dorsey news. Yeah. Let's move on. Also in, I guess, unexpected. No, this is definitely unexpected news. So, oh boy, remember when Bitcoin got NFTs, but they weren't called NFTs, they were called inscriptions? And then the same exact guy who made the Bitcoin NFT thing also created something called runes. And I don't know why, I can't figure out for why. Does someone know why they're called runes as opposed to just like coins? So basically with runes, you can create other coins on top of Bitcoin. And part of the idea is that these coins would become popular, or one of them would stick out and become the new it thing. Very similar to Ethereum years ago. Ethereum's price was $4, $5, $6, $7 until people figured out that they could actually put other coins and other blockchains on top of it. Some of those coins took off, and of course Ethereum as an entire network, the value also ends up rising. So if people end up making NFTs on top of it, and there are very rare Satoshis in the Bitcoin network, which we also just went over before for those of you who missed it, there are people selling Satoshis for like $4 million. That's not a joke either. I think the first Satoshi that was just mined after the halving sold for millions. The idea is that if someone makes a coin like Polygon or like that on top of Bitcoin, Bitcoin's value will also increase exponentially. So yeah, Runes, a new token standard on the Bitcoin blockchain, has made up. These things just came out. These were just released. Runes now make up more than 2/3 of transactions on Bitcoin since it was launched following the network's halving on the 20th of April. These things just came out, and they're now more than 2/3 of all transactions on this network. More than 2.38 million Rune transactions have been processed, accounting for 68% of all transactions since the halving, according to a Dune Analytics dashboard shared by blockchain research firm Koryo, Koryo. Ordinary peer-to-peer transactions, BRC20s, ordinals, and runes were included in the total transaction count. And there's a slightly confusing chart right here, but the runes are in this like bright neon pink right here, and they have completely skyrocketed over everything else. Runes had its biggest day on the 23rd of April with more than 750,000 transactions, though the count more than halved the next day at 312,000 transactions. Don't really have to read any more. Cool. I don't know what to say. I assume as more time goes on, we will be hearing, This is a guarantee at this point. You can't tell people that they can make new coins on top of Bitcoin and expect them not to. What I think the vast majority of people are now waiting for is the Dogecoin, is the Cardano, is the Ethereum of all of this. One of these coins is going to launch. It's going to become incredibly popular. People are going to start using it. Transactions, you understand. So it's the same exact thing with the ETFs. with the NFTs. With the NFTs on top of Bitcoin as well. I know a lot of them are very popular. I have a lot of friends who are like really exclusively into Bitcoin NFTs. Like it's kind of what they live for at this point. So yeah, we'll see the value of a whole bunch of these things going up, but it's a gigantic coin toss, because what ends up being the most popular thing? Everyone can come out with a brand new coin, but one of them ends up sticking. So yeah, it's actually quite shocking. 2/3 of all transactions on the Bitcoin network are just, and this is like the number of transactions. This isn't even like monetarily. If Bitcoin is normally in normal transactions doing $1 trillion per month, are these runes then doing hundreds of billions of dollars worth of transactions? It's a little crazy to think about. Yeah. That's the Bitcoin runes. Make up 68% of all transactions on the network. And yeah, let's move on. Very popular news, and I kind of wish that it wasn't, just because the madness is maddening. So we've been hearing, allegedly, from behind the scenes, that allegedly Gary Gensler has been lying about a lot of the things that we've been hearing quite recently within the cryptocurrency space. And it's the multitude of allegedly lying about how the SEC felt about Bitcoin, how they felt about Ethereum, how they feel about all altcoins, how they're trying to get we know this part. It's like a very desperate power grab over the cryptocurrency space to make sure that as crypto continues to take over, that the SEC remains relevant in some sort of way. But now it's getting really to the point where people are stepping up and they're like, something is completely wrong with all of this. And that's where we currently are. U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission chair, his name is Gary Gensler, has been accused of misleading Congress by Representative Patrick McHenry, the chairman of the House Financial Services Committee, who said Gary Gensler's agency already knew that they considered Ethereum's Ether a security before he attended a hearing and declined to answer that question. He said Chair Gensler refused to answer questions regarding the SEC's clarification of Ether. New court filings show that this was an intentional attempt to misrepresent the commission's position. Years ago, the SEC announced, it was once again very Twilight Zone-y. They announced one day, someone got on a literal stage and announced that Bitcoin was not a security, it was a commodity, and everyone was like, "Oh, some kind of clarity in the space." The next day, someone came forward and said Ethereum is not a security, and everyone was like, "Okay, here we go." Here we go, because the next coin after that, back then, the number 3 coin was XRP. So everyone was considering that they were literally daily going to go down the line to give us this information, and then they stopped. We heard, and I have read in books, that the Ethereum Foundation from the get-go made sure to not only register with regulators within Switzerland where it launched, but also to do it within the United States, because they knew that they would be doing business in the US as well. And thus, at some point, came the classification of not security for Ether. Since then, and I'll even give you a shorter time frame, since January, Gary Gensler seems to be foaming at the mouth. That's not a joke, because we heard that apparently there was a bit of behind the door, closed door talk difficulty for actually launching the Bitcoin ETFs, because Gary Gensler was vehemently against them until he put his thumb up and said, okay. And it was, I think, a 3-5 vote. Therefore, the majority won. We have Bitcoin ETFs. You might remember the very next day, this guy went on CNBC and completely lost it and was talking about that Bitcoin's terrible, it's awful, it's being used by criminals, this is in no way an endorsement. And it's like, cool, dude, calm down. About a week and a half later, we heard that there were multiple new lawsuits against a bunch of different cryptocurrency companies because, foaming at the mouth, that's what usually ends up happening. And then we started hearing rumors that people were going to try and launch Ethereum ETFs. And then we started hearing whispers that apparently within the SEC that they had allegedly lied a number of years ago and that they were planning on kind of, I don't want to use the word attacking, but going after Ethereum for quite some time. And then, from this moment, now that you're hearing this, I think 2 or 3 weeks ago, we heard that apparently anything that was tied to Ethereum, the Ethereum Foundation, Consensus, and all the other branches and stuff like that, had all received some kind of letter from the SEC basically telling them that they were all going to be investigated because to see if Ethereum was actually a security. And then Gary Gensler was ordered to testify about the entire thing. And apparently he said, I think he actually withheld. I think he said absolutely nothing during the hearing. The classification of Ether, the second largest cryptocurrency by market cap, is a major question hanging over the U.S. oversight of digital assets, and it's being fought on multiple legal fronts. If ETH is a security, so the idea is that it would be registered and have to be regulated by the SEC, but that's not how it freaking works. Then many other tokens may also fit into the definition. I truly, I'll tell you, I don't understand the entirety of this. Like, it seems almost like madness. And I mean like actual... Have you seen Game of Thrones or anything with a king? And you see that the king ends up going insane, but no one can really tell the king because he's completely insane? It's like this. Even if the SEC in the United States declares that Ether is a security, they can't have control over the blockchain. It's impossible. They would need to have control over the entire worldwide chain. It's not going to take place. They would need everyone validating transactions in Africa, in Latin America, in Asia, in Europe, in Canada, in Mexico, in Australia, to basically say, okay, we're going to give you all the data and information from every transaction that has ever gone through the United States validators. It literally doesn't make any. I don't know what this is. I don't know if it's simply. There was a theory years ago that the SEC was doing this kind of like playing tug of war, but they intended to lose, or in that they were trying to show like, hey, we're gonna let you have your own space, but make sure that you do it correctly, or we will actually come in and regulate, like that kind of thing. Like, they're pulling against the rope, even though they know that at some point they're gonna forfeit just to make sure that the other team actually ends up winning, like that kind of thing. But it doesn't logically make any sense. This was the entire reason why they had the lawsuit against Ripple and XRP. It's because they're trying to figure out ways to gain control over the market, but you can't control this. Ethereum's not sitting on one computer somewhere in Los Angeles that they can walk in, then pick up, and then have control over the network. That's not how any of this works. Even more so, that would also then demand that everything else built on top of Ethereum, the thousands of coins, all these coins would then have to also register with the SEC. That's not how the world works. If these companies are registered in Luxembourg, in Singapore, in Hong Kong, in Melbourne, in South Africa, like, what exactly are you proposing? That's why this entire thing is so weird. The classifications don't actually matter anywhere else in the world. You can say whatever you want about any of these chains. You can declare that all of them are securities. You literally cannot control them. It's so incredibly frustrating because it is just the USA that's doing this. It's just the SEC. Every other country has gotten it under control. There are rumors of another country that is corrupt as winter is long, who's thinking about banning crypto, And it's also like, yeah, well, your entire system is corrupt and you're also trying to ruin the world. That's another country, by the way, for those of you who haven't been watching. The news. Yeah, they're also talking about banning crypto, and it's like no one really cares because we know your level of corruption is completely off the charts. And then you look over, you turn your head, and then you see Gary Gensler sitting in the same exact, chair, and it's like, what are you doing? I don't understand the point of this entire fight. The SEC keeps taking companies to court, and then they lose against them unless they know that this company is very small, they don't have a lot of money, and then they force all of this money out of them. But anyone who actually has any sense, who's going up against the SEC, they're like, you can't prove anything. You can't force us to do anything. And even if the dumbest part is, even if these coins, even if Ether is classified as a security, securities are also traded on stock exchanges. So all they would do is allow Ether, literally the coin, to be able to trade it on a stock exchange. There's no loss anywhere except for the SEC because they will never get control over these chains. Ever. How is it that everyone else around the world has figured that out? That's why countries have banned Bitcoin and Ethereum. Because they've gone through it. We've been here. We've read the documents. We've seen the news in the last 8 years. There have been multiple countries who've announced that they have to ban it because there's no way for them to be able to control it. There were hearings from Congress. There were hearings in the Senate. There were hearings from other countries around the world where these people were literally asking developers from Ethereum and all these other coins, well, who controls these chains? And they were like, no one. They said, come on, that doesn't make any sense. How do we turn this thing off? And they said, you would need to turn off the internet. Oh, come on, stop lying. They didn't understand. You literally can't. You would have to stop the entirety of the internet. And even then, for those of you who missed those videos, you can also send crypto through radio waves now. You can send it through normal satellites. You don't even need the internet anymore. You can send it through normal phone signals. Look up those news articles from years ago. These people developed it because they were like, there are a lot of places that don't have access to all the satellites that we have. How do we help these people? They figured out you can send it through phone and radio signals. Like, what even is this all about? It's so insane to have to go through this all the time. Is someone whispering in his ear that he needs to do all of this for the integrity of the US dollar? Because we've seen before from multiple other countries, a lot of other people around the world have stopped using their local currencies and are just either using Bitcoin or Tether. Because they're tired of the inflation. They're tired of all these other things that they're going through. And also, if you hold Tether, you also get money back. It's not staking your Tether, but simply by holding Tether, I think it's a 4 or 5% return on your money. This is the only thing that I can think of that it actually is that they see the trends and there's more and more people. So the only way to discourage them is by scaring them, but by having someone go on stage and lie over and over and over and over. Because what happens when all of this ends and Ether is not a security? What was all of this for? What was the point of all of this? Everyone hates you now. Literally, no one likes this guy. Not even trying to make a joke or whatever. What are you doing to yourself and to your reputation forever by making sure that no one likes you? We've heard multiple times that other people within the SEC are constantly disagreeing with him because they're like, no, that doesn't make any sense, with multiple different things from multiple different coins. We also just recently heard, for those of you who missed it, that Consensus has also filed a lawsuit against the SEC before the SEC actually got the documents to Consensus. It's absolutely insane what's happening. It's so frustrating. I don't get it. Why are you lying? Oh, what's the point of all of this? Anyway, I guess relatively big news. We've known, me and you, just going over normal news daily. We've seen the SEC lie many other times before, but it's who's making them do it Or is Gary Gensler completely off of his rocker? So yeah, in 10 to 15 years, these people, how do I even put this into words? History will not look kindly upon them. Like, they're gonna look like psychopaths. What was the point of all of this? Even crazier, when I was first looking at this space, I had no coins. I was first looking at this space and trying to figure out what was going on. This was like 2012 or 2013 when they were trying to first get the actual bit license. People were begging for regulations back then. It's been 14, 15 years and there's still nothing. It doesn't make any sense. People begging for regulation. And instead you have to go through all of this. What's the point of all this pain? What's the point of all these lawsuits? What's the point of all this lying? How much further ahead or along would we be if these people had just properly regulated? Insanity, actual insanity. Okie dokie. That's the okay news. And yeah, let's move on. It's so crazy. Like, I don't understand what's going on. This news right here, I'm going to try and be nice. I'm going to try and stay in the middle and be nice. I don't know why this happened, but I know it wasn't a joke. I don't know who thought this up, but I assume that there have probably been some kind of discussions behind the scenes. When I saw this happening, I was like, is this desperation or is this actual insanity? So, recently on Twitter, Charles Hoskinson, who is the founder of Cardano, posted what he called a hypothetical poll on Twitter. The poll posed a question to the community: would any of you be interested in seeing a partnership between Cardano and Bitcoin Cash? The poll from the Cardano founder, which had more than 12,000 votes within its first 24 hours, revealed that a majority, 66%, were in favor of a proposed integration. Hoskinson's question was detailed: would you like to see Bitcoin Cash become a Cardano partnership chain upgraded with useful proof of work LEOS, NPOWs, and Ergo Tech, thus becoming the fastest and most powerful, useful proof of chain ever built? I assume that behind the scenes, that the people from Cardano have been looking for some kind of a partnership in some sort of way. Many coins years ago thrived on partnership news. If you announced that you had any partnership, your coin's price would go up by 4, 5, 6, 7% within the actual hour. Times are a little bit different than they were before. Bitcoin Cash is a literal scam chain. It is a chain that was built to discredit Bitcoin. It was created by someone and a group of people who claimed that they knew what was best for Bitcoin, and therefore they were going to fork the chain to create their own chain, as opposed to creating layer 2 solutions and or side chains to the main chain to make their dreams come true. Do you understand what I'm saying? Imagine you see a house. The house is doing okay. It could use some renovations. And instead of making sure that you fix that house, you fix the bones of the house. You give it nice little renovations to make it everything that you said that it should be. You go across, first of all, you take some of the wood from the first house, and then you start building a second one across the street that's smaller, it's lopsided, and no one likes to go by it because it kind of smells. The entire idea of Bitcoin Cash is a money grab. It's the same exact thing with Bitcoin Cash, Satoshi's vision, same exact thing with Bitcoin Gold and Bitcoin Diamond and all the other colorful Bitcoin that there also are out there. And also, I just saw a new one. There's some other new Bitcoin that just launched, and it's cash grabs. I personally, maybe I've been in the space for too long. Maybe I'm now one of the, like, get off my lawn kind of people. There is never a reason to even hypothetically propose merging or working with a scam chain. It literally is not a thing and should not exist. No one uses Bitcoin Cash the same way that no one now uses Bitcoin Cash Satoshi's Vision. We've seen over the years that a lot of the transactions on Bitcoin Cash have been completely fraudulent. Like, we know that they have been fraudulent throughout history. I don't know if this is simply to get people riled up. It worked. I don't know if this is meant to be some kind of like, listen, we've been talking about it. How many people, because, you want to ask the community how they feel about this. Because I would love to know if you can tell me if you would actually be up for this integration. I have so many things I want to say. So many things. While Hoskinson emphasized that the poll was hypothetical, the response indicated a significant level of interest among the crypto community. I assume these are people who are brand new to the market, have Cardano, and have no idea what Bitcoin Cash actually is. Notably, the Cardano founder stated, Dogecoin should be a Cardano sidechain. I do the migration for free. I'd even add smart contracts. As you might have imagined, this was quite popular news. Cardano is a very popular chain, and the idea of any type of an integration or news about partnerships is, of course, going to make it into the news, but it is not going to be as popular as it used to be a number of years ago. I don't know why. Period. Like, I really don't know what to say anything after that. I would have, will have, I hope not have, probably lost all integrity for Cardano if this integration actually ends up happening. All integrity. I have ADA. For those of you who don't know, I've had it for a while, since like 2018, 2019 or something like that. I would probably sell all of my ADA if this happens. It's not even half a joke. Not even 1% of a joke. Do you understand what the turmoil the market had to go through because of the creation of these scam Bitcoins? If you were here in 2017 and 2018, I'm sure you remember. It was literal madness because these people kept on going forward. Do you not remember? There was a website that was selling Bitcoin Cash. It was the main Bitcoin Cash website. At the bottom of you scrolled all the way to the bottom, you were able to either buy Bitcoin or Bitcoin Cash. They offered a service to the community if you wanted some of these coins. Fantastic. However, they began to spread the idea that Bitcoin wasn't called Bitcoin and that the number one coin was actually called Bitcoin Core. That was they said that was the name of the actual chain. And they started saying, you must remember this, that Bitcoin Cash was actually Bitcoin. So on the bottom of the screen, when you scrolled all the way down on their website, you had two options to buy. You could either buy Bitcoin or Bitcoin Core. So imagine the surprise of thousands of people who were using this service, who were buying Bitcoin Cash that had been renamed Bitcoin on their website, when people tried to send it to their BTC wallet and they couldn't. Has everyone forgotten the nonsense that these chains put us through? It was a good 4 years of nonstop. When Bitcoin Cash launched, BTC, Bitcoin's number one coin, its price dropped by half because the market thought that there were now two Bitcoins running around out there. When Bitcoin Cash, Satoshi's Vision, dropped, people thought there was a third Bitcoin that had launched. Bitcoin's price once again fell by half in a day. Even a joke proposal to integrate with them is terrible. So this only Once again, I don't know if it's desperation. I don't know if these people are friends behind the scenes. And even 66% tells me that a lot of these people have not been in the market for that long or simply forget very quick that working with garbage is going to make you smell very, very fast. Yeah, that's the proposed integration, but just a joke, only hypothetical news. Uh-huh. Yeah, I'm sure. I think that's going to do it for this video. I do hope that you've all in some way enjoyed. I do hope you all are having a great day, morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you are, wherever you might be. I do hope it is absolutely fantastic. Thank you all once again for watching, listening, liking, commenting, and supporting. And I will most certainly be talking to you all soon. See you.